So we are waiting for some more people to join, as I mentioned, some of the participants to join also. It is very difficult to speak, especially during moments where every single one of us has to reflect on their own actions and responsibilities. We tend to want to hear what others have to say, how others are behaving, and find comfort in what makes us feel good. I would like to address something that needs to be taken very seriously. Everybody's looking for comfort. Everybody's looking for the big Yeshua. Mashiach. Everybody says that we want Mashiach. We want Mashiach. Is Mashiach coming? Is this now? It is clear that throughout history, we have all been, throughout history, every generation has been faced with the opportunity to bring Mashiach. But like Chachamim say, כל מי שלא נברא בית המקדש בימיו, כאילו נחרב בית המקדש בימיו. Whoever did not witness the building of the Beit HaMikdash, meaning did not witness the venue of Mashiach, it's as if he destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. What does that mean? Rabotai, I would like to address this subject because everybody is asking, is this the time? Is Mashiach coming? Is not coming? How long it's going to last? What should we do? Should we go away? Should we go for Pesach? We shouldn't go for Pesach. Some people ask, should they short the market? Others say, should they buy stocks? Everybody's focused on a lot of things that are completely off. We shouldn't be asking if Mashiach is coming. We shouldn't be asking if we're shorting the market, or if we should buy gold, or if we should sell the house, or if we should move to Israel. These are side points. What we have to ask ourselves is, what did I did wrong to be part of a time that's so complicated and so difficult? How can I better myself? How can I change? Instead of focusing on technicalities that are completely irrelevant. Rabotai, each and every one of us has to bear the responsibility of what's happening. We are all responsible. It is my fault. If there is corona today in the world, it's my fault. If there are people suffering in our community, it's my fault, not yours. It's my fault. I didn't serve Hashem better. I wasn't responsible enough with my actions. I was too careless to bear the responsibilities of the ones that I love. Too insensitive, taking for granted that the people that are important to me will always be by my side. We become the product of what the millennial social media trend made us. And what is that? People that just choose to identify themselves with different groups, which led to polarization. We polarize ourselves. We tend to want to hide behind a group of people that have the same type of ideologies, feel good about it, and never be truly ourselves. never take full responsibilities for what Hashem brought us on this planet for. The situation is very unique. We didn't confine ourselves in a specific place because we want to, because we like it, out of fear, but because it's mandatory. It was brought upon ourselves. You have to stay home. You have to be in quarantine. You cannot go to the gym. You cannot go to work. You cannot mingle. You cannot go to restaurants. You cannot go to bars. You cannot go to movie theaters. Basically, the message is stop thinking that your life is outside your house, that your life is led and guided by the streets. Stay home. Reflect on what your makom, what your true space, where your true belonging is. Recognize that the ones you take for granted should not be taken for granted. We see how people can get hurt by this plague very, very fast. We put back things in perspective to what's important. When before we used to go to a Starbucks coffee and ask for a cold brew, mocha latte with a little bit of cinnamon and not too much, and half a cup of who knows what. When today we go to the supermarket and we can find bottles of water, we're happy. Having pure air, being in a clean environment. How lucky are we to be able to walk in an area without a mask? Who did not take for granted that you can just walk and breathe? What's the problem? Everything is clean, everything is beautiful. Not anymore. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem is putting everything back in perspective. Everything back in perspective. Showing us that we have to be careful and appreciate the true values of life. The true jewels, blessings that we're given. Health, air, water, food. Somewhere you can sleep in. Imagine if you didn't have where to go to, and you have to be stuck in a hotel, or you have to be stuck in a hospital, or in a hostel. How can you sleep not knowing that there's hundreds of people around? You don't know if they're sick, if they're clean, if they're not sick. Embrace the walls of your house. Doesn't matter how small it is. Doesn't matter how big it is. The fact that you're in a house and you are in a clean environment, Hodu Lashem Kitov. Thank you. Thank you, Hashem. Recognize how valuable your beloved ones are. Every morning we wake up, we leave the house, we come home expecting the same people at home. And for sure, my wife loves me. And for sure, my husband loves me. I don't need to show it. What do you mean? It's taken for granted. Taken for granted the kids. Taken for granted everything. Corona says, Corona, the crown. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, let's reframe everything. Do not take for granted. I will put you in an environment where you are now forced to look at each other. Unfortunately, when we're at home and you have the people that love us next to us and we're next to them, you know what we do? We go on our phone, or turn on the TV, watch the news. Do we really take the time to shut down the TV, shut down the media, shut down all this nonsense, and look at our wife and our husband or our kids and say, wow, I'm so lucky. You're healthy. You're next to me. I'm not in the hospital having to take care of you. I don't have this burden on me. You're with me. How grateful I am. Rabotai, loving is not something you can take for granted. Mashiach, you want to talk about Mashiach, comes from the word siha, Messiah. You know what Messiah means? Make someone talk. A siha is a conversation that is based on two people communicating and exchanging ideas and thoughts. What does that mean? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu made man, he created a body, blew into it a spirit of life. And the Targum says, what is the spirit of life? Ruach memalela, the ability to speak. Speaking is what gives us the ability to express the divine intervention of Hashem. And what did we do? What are we doing? Let's think about it. We became a generation that posts on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook, running after what? After likes, running after followers, running after, how much can I post? How much can I brag? Sharing everything without the outside world, without thinking the real impact it will have on others. Because while a person may be pausing somewhere, beautiful with his friends, somebody else might be in his bed, paralyzed, he can't move, and he's looking at all these pictures. And while you're posting all these pictures, you're like, wow, it's amazing, it's funny, how many likes I'm going to get, how many hits I'm going to get, and, but we're insensitive to the impact it can have on people. This insensitivity is the opposite of love. Right? Like we say, the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. When you become indifferent to the people that are in your home, indifferent to the people that care for you, indifferent to just people. So you cut the interaction, the natural interaction we were brought to this world for. Ruach memalela. Now, we are forced to rebuild, recreate, reinforce, work on internal communication. Working with the ones we love, talking to the ones we love, listening to the ones we love, in order to be able to reconnect. This is Mashiach. This is Messiah, giving the ability to people to communicate, allowing others to enter your heart, being less selfish, less insensitive. So, if we try to just recap the idea, instead of focusing on what type of Purell you want to buy and how many seconds you have to wash your hands with soap, why don't we start cleaning our soul? We are so pure. We are so blessed. We are so spoiled. And what Hashem is expecting from us? What is this message? just start recognizing how wealthy you are, how healthy you are, how blessed you are to have with you the ones you love. But do not take it for granted. Do not think this is something that we can stay forever. If we do that, then be'emet, then we can allow Mashiach to come. Mashiach may or may not come. Every generation that he didn't come because he didn't want to come. He didn't come because the generation didn't want him to come. They were too comfortable or too busy doing other things. That's why Mashiach didn't come. The question is, are we going to be this generation that spoils the opportunity for Mashiach to come, or the opposite? We understand what is expected from us, and we will do what it takes to make sure that Mashiach comes. The decision is now. It just happens to be that about 40 days before Pesach, just the time to have a rebirth, like it says in Mishlei, it takes 40 days for a person to recreate and rejuvenate his own essence. Outbursts of Corona that really start striking our communities. The danger is not Corona. The danger is what we're going to do with Corona. Are we going to be smart enough to learn what the message, implement the regulations of health, not so that we can stay alive, but so that we can bring life to our lives. Bring the Mashiach. Bring a better future for every one of us. So if we need to retag Corona, as difficult as it is and as painful as it is, like we mentioned in our last speech, like Chachamim say, En pour anud ba'ala olam ela bishvil Israel, when there is a plague, when there's a hard situation that comes on the world, it's to come and wake us up, wake us, our community, so that we recognize what we do wrong, we fix what we do wrong, and better ourselves. In this specific situation, Rabotai, is more than that. In this specific situation, En Corona ba la'olam ela kedei sheYisrael yaviu et Mashiach. Corona comes as an opportunity to open the door for Mashiach to come. So now, is Corona a curse or is Corona a blessing? It will depend on us. It will depend on our actions. But one thing I can assure you is that if we spoil this opportunity, we're going to feel very bad that we didn't take such a gift, in quote, from Hashem, such a clear message, and took advantage of it. So if we take practical actions, so now what do I do in order to bring Mashiach? Or what do I do in order to better myself so that my door of my portion of Mashiach is open? The Ramban says, you know what Mashiach is? Mashiach is a state of mind. It's a situation, it's a time where everyone will be doing the right thing naturally. So if we want to bring Mashiach closer, or if we want to make sure that we are part of the ones that will open the door for Mashiach to come, then we have to make sure that we try to create a tendency of good deeds. But to be good, you have to stop hating yourself. What does that mean, hating yourself? You have to stop belittling your responsibilities, being insensitive to your soul, insensitive to your emotions. You have to stop hating the ones that love you constantly. What do I mean by hate? Again, being insensitive or taking for granted that they love you and taking for granted that they have to be there for you. Stop hating by being insensitive with others. Stop hating just because, why should I love the guy? What did he give me for me to love? We have to stop that sin'ah. The Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of sin'at hinam. Because we didn't love, we hated naturally, for free. How do you hate for free? You just don't care. That's all it takes. If you don't care, you become insensitive. You're insensitive, it's a form of hatred. So the tikkun is an extra effort to show love. And now it's very difficult. Now the real challenge of love comes. The Rambam asks a question, a very strong question. The Rambam says, how come when a husband and wife are together for 9 months during a pregnancy, and at the time the woman needs her husband the most, when she's about to give birth, she's asura, she becomes nida? How can that be? Says the Rambam, there is a rule of thumb. When the bodies are separated, it imposes the kirva, the closeness of the hearts. Rabotai, we are now completely detached from everything that we thought was protecting us. Our cars, our office space, our office people that we work with, the Kiddush club, sports session, the gym, Pilaton, all these things that we thought are it's part of my routine. This is my life. This is who I am. All this is gone right now. Not gone as a punishment, it's taken away from you. Nothing is taken away from nobody. Nothing's taken away from nobody. It's all there. But there is a pause. We are taken away from all these so that we can start reflecting on ourselves. And that distance forces us to start rebuilding, recollecting information, attention, and rejuvenate the basics of our essence, to love, to communicate, and to allow others to communicate with us. Now you're going to have to sit down with your kids and actually talk to them. You're going to have to listen to them. You're going to have to listen to your wife, speak to your wife, and miss the ones that you took for granted. You can just go visit or would come right and left. Not anymore. So now you're going to start valuing how precious the opportunity is to be able to drive and go visit your grandfather, your grandmother, your old parents. Because today, the rule is, if you have an old parent, a grandparent, you cannot come visit. They're high risk. If somebody would tell you today, a year ago, tell me how precious it is to go visit your grandfather or your grandmother or your father, your mother. What do you mean? I take the car, in 5 minutes I'm there. I go visit and I come back. Simple. Well, today, even if you want, you can't. For many reasons. Number one, you can't leave your house. And number two, you cannot go there because you might transport this virus and put them at risk. Now, like the Rambam says, we are forced to start working on true love. Rechuk hagufot. Now that you are no longer part of this selfish, intimate relationships, you have to start building. You have to start building real relationships. This is Mashiach. This will bring what HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects from us at this time. If we're able to learn this, to implement this, I promise you, how many Shalom Bayit is going to get better? How many mahlokot between parents and children will be resolved? How many problems we're solving? Rahmanan li babae. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants your heart. He doesn't want your social club. He doesn't need the shul and the buildings and the nonsense and the cool and who club and this club and that club and the counterfeit, all this nonsense. Because Baruch doesn't need all this. He needs 10 people to come and study Torah. To all those ones. And I'm opening a parenthesis here. And I want to make myself very, very clear, and I take full responsibility for what I'm going to say right now. To all those ones that think that it is right to shut down every single minyan possible because of the risk of pikuach nefesh, there should be shul. This is true, and this is right. You know why? Because people go to shul not to pray. People go to shul to socialize. Who goes to shul with his head on his shoulder, focusing on Hashem? It's or you're too late, or you're too fast, or you're too slow, or I have to go, or I have a meeting, or I'm talking schmoozing with my friend, or this guy is davening too slow. So I come and say, you know what? Let's stop with that too. You're going to stay home. But the concept of a minyan of 10 people, there is an aftaha. There is an aftaha of the Gemara. The Gemara says the following in Masechet Baba Kama, Perek HaKones, page Samech Hamud Bet. That when there is Dever, Ba'ir, if there is a plague in the city, a person should not go inside the Bet HaKnesset. Yahid, when he's alone. Why? Says the Gemara, מפני שמלאך המוות בגלל שמלאך המוות מבקיע שם כליו. Says the Gemara, because the malach hamavet, he goes inside the Bet HaKnesset. When a person is alone, but says the Gemara, אחד דלא קרו באדם דכאב ולא מצאנו בהסרה. When don't you go to the Bet HaKnesset? When there's no kids learning Torah. When there's no 10 people praying. So it is true that a lot of Rabbanim chose to shut down the Batei Knesiot based on all the regulations, which is very, very good. You know why? Because we don't know how many people really daven. Even that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is taking. Even that, He took away. Out of love for us to recognize what He really wants. Liba alev. So if we start loving, if we start praying, if we start caring, we will open a wide door for Mashiach to come. So please, for now, until our next Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach Shiur, let's start practicing 5 times a day actions of love. But really, actions of love. Express it. Allow someone to express to you something. Be attentive to what the person wants to tell you. 5 times a day. And say, Leshem Yichud Kudsha B'Richud. I'm overcoming my selfishness, my insensitivity. I'm showing love. I'm building love for you, Hashem, so that you know. So that you know that I care and I understand what you expect from me. This is, in my opinion, the core essence message that is being sent to us. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu is screaming. אני רוצה את הלב שלך. I want your heart. I don't care about the mechanism. I don't care about the systematic behavior. I want your heart. So יהי רצון that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows us מתוך מידת הרחמים to really see Mashiach Tzidkenu and be able to participate in this great historic moment of being the one generations to be chosen to bring Mashiach. So for now, I would like to wish everybody Shavua Tov. Don't be scared of Corona. Don't be scared of all these mishugaim that are making us scared, that are trying to create panic. Rabotai, we have to be besimcha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose us. He chose us to be able to be part of the big plan of Mashiach. But it comes with a responsibility, because if we mess up, we're in trouble. Yehi Ratzon with the simcha, Yehi Ratzon with the love. He said love, right? With the love and with the simcha, we will be'ezrat Hashem together, change this vibe that is influencing us and darkening our light. And the opposite, Atem oro shel olam, we will become the light. We will become the light. Just because of our heart and because of our simcha. I wish you again Shavua Tov and Be'ezrat Hashem to our next upcoming shiur very soon. You will all be updated. I love you all and I thank you for sharing this time with me. I apologize. It's the first time I speak to myself on a screen. I hope you enjoyed it all. Be'atzlacha u'besorot tovot. I don't even know how to exit.